So for step 18, attaching the steering servo. Well, we've got to grab the steering rods and get the adjusters on. We've also got these pieces here that have to be attached, which will be used to attach the servo itself to the electronics box. And of course, we've got to install these as well. So there are the rods, the pieces to attach the servo to the chassis, and then we've got our adjusters and our screws. So I'll set this up and let's put this all together. So let's grab the longer one to begin with, and you can see that they want 57 millimeters from the end of the adjuster to the end of the adjuster on the other side. Now I'm going to see if I can get this on without any trouble. Well, it's going to require me to hold this a bit better. So again, I'm using these shock pliers, which are fantastic because I can get a really firm grip on the steering rod and be able to use the strength of my hand to basically push this on and get it level. And I'm going to be able to screw this in as far as I need to. And let's get the other one on. And it'll be the same issue anyway, so I'll just put this into here, squeeze tight, and we can then put a little bit of force on the adjuster to get the screw into it, and just keep spinning it on. Now, just out of curiosity, I'm going to take this off and see where we're at so far. And you can see that if I put one adjuster at one end, I got a long way to go still. So let's turn that one over. And we're going to spin this one on. And again, let's do a test. We're getting there, but I'm going to turn it around so that the adjuster is level more or less with each side, so no one side has less of the rod in the adjuster, if that makes sense. And look at that. That's pretty close. I actually think I've done it maybe a little bit longer than it should be, but that is close. Now we can do a sort of a test here. We know that it's supposed to be 57 millimeters, so that's going to be, if you see there, this is showing it at 55. I need to twist it out a bit more, so I'm just twisting both ends here, and I'll check back on there as well, and on here. But that is correct. And you know, you don't need to use a ruler, but if you see this is pretty much bang on to the picture. And Tamiya's instructions make a point of doing that. So that one actually is exactly what it should look like. Now, the only thing is you'll notice that this shows the eye hole this way, this shows it the sideways. So in actual fact, you need to have it looking like this when it's finished, where you've got one eye hole and then the other one is sideways to that, so that it sits more like that. Interesting. So we can move on to the second one, which is a lot smaller, but we only need 36 millimeters in between. So let's get these on. Sometimes they go on really easy, sometimes they're a little trickier. Around, get the other adjuster on. But I really love using shock pliers for this part because you've got something to grab and be able to spin the adjusters on a lot easier than trying to do it with your fingers. So I'll do a quick test here, see where we're at. Yep, still need to go, and I've got more in this one than this, so I'm turning it around and we'll screw this side in a bit more. Do another test. Getting there. Might even turn it around again just to make it even as possible, but let's see where we're at. Ooh, we're like very close. So let's just see. This is supposed to be 36. You can see on the diagram, it pretty much is 36. In fact, I could even loosen it off just a touch more and it would be pretty close. But we'll do a little bit of a test here and you can see that that is 36. I might spin it just a little bit more. Because actually, you see how we've got to do the same thing? One is one way, one is the other. So I'll just do one last check on the ruler. But that is 36, if you can see that there. So that matches pretty much perfectly to the diagram as well. So the steering rods are done. So now it's a matter of getting this servo sorted with the E4 pieces. Now you can see that we're going to need to either, the way that's done, we need to be able to turn that around. So there is one other thing you're going to have to watch out for, and I've not seen this on other kits, where the E4 piece is going to be turned around or not depending on the servo. So you can see here it says if this, your attachment piece that'll be used to attach the servo to the chassis, is more than 8 millimeters, you use the E4 one way, or if it's less than 8 millimeters, you use it the other. So you can see that there was an additional sort of add-on piece that stuck out of it. Well, I needed to test this out to see which way was going to work, and so I've ended up just putting it on. So here's the Futaba servo, and you'll notice that I have this, the additional outer piece sticking out backwards, because the diagram, if I was to sort of show you this way, in this case, it is more than 8 millimeters from the top of the servo to the bottom of that servo piece, which means that you're not supposed to use this additional extra piece that would actually push this bracket a little more farther away from the top. And then if it was less than 8 millimeters, you'd turn it around so that you actually would use that additional sort of jutting piece as what you would attach the servo to. But the diagram is terrible. Sorry, it just is, Tamiya, because if you look at where the line is, that's not a very good image as to, do I use it one way or do I use it with that circle piece instead? So I've just gone ahead. So on a Futaba servo, it's going to look like this, where you're actually screwing it into the flat spot, and then the open circle, whatever you want to call that jutting piece, is at the back. But again, depending on your servo, it would be the other way. Now, the only other thing that I would say is this might be a tough spot for you. I found it very difficult to put these pieces on. The screw hole, either in the plastic, I guess it's in the plastic, seemed small, so I was really having to go to town on it to try and screw this in. They are in. There's still a little bit of movement or play, which that's okay because we need to be able to attach it to the box. And if you can see, here's our box. So these screws are going to screw into the bottom of here, and I've got it in the right place because you can see that even when you turn this over, the screw holes are going to end up matching up. So I've done it, but I didn't find this very easy, and my hands are all turning red where I've had to put pressure on the servo while I was screwing it in. So just note that at least on the Futaba one, it looks like you're going to be screwing it into the flat side, not the little circle side. But there we go. There's the servo. It's ready to go, so we can actually install it. And it is showing that they want you to pop on the adjusters before doing that. So we'll do that. So you can see that the right one is the longer one. So we want that attached to here. So let's grab our pliers and stick that there. In fact, you should be able to just pop it on sideways like this, if you can see that. So there's one. So there is the longer one, and remember, you've got it flat there, but it's the other way on the other side. And the same thing on this side. And it really doesn't matter which way you put it on, because obviously if you did that one or if you did it that way, so it doesn't matter. But let's get this one on, and same thing. Grab our pliers, one end on the ball. So there we go. There are our steering rods in place. So now it's a matter of screwing this into the box. So we're going to put that down inside there. And we know that we've got these two longer screws, the MC8s, which were these tapping screws, but they've kind of got a washer built onto them. And we're going to stick that one in there. Fine. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, because I want to try and get them in evenly. I don't want to screw one in and then leave the other out. Let's kind of make sure they're going in okay on both sides. So I'm just using my fingers on the other side to hold down the servo. And in fact, I might just turn it around and hold it in. It's easier this way. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So there we go. There is our servo mounted to the electronics box. Oops. There we go. So that's ultimately what it's going to look like. And you can see that there's enough clearance and everything's out of the way. So there we go. So step 18 is complete. So now we're going to move on to step 19, and we're going to attach all the RC equipment.